This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda, 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda, 102 Mega FM in Gulu, 97 FM Butembo Radio in Eastern Uganda, 107.0 Bududi FM, 100.5 Nge FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda. On the farm on UBC Radio.
Hello, great people of Uganda. How are you? We welcome you to yet another edition of On the Farm program on UBC Radio. My name is Morena Katkunda, and I'm privileged to be sitting down with our great expert, our great friend, our man of knowledge, someone who is here to nurture us into better ways of doing agriculture, the modern ways, because gone are the days when we used to do things without knowledge, and everything was for trying. You try this, you see if it is working out, you're not sure. But now we are lucky that we have people who have taken an extra mile to understand some of these concepts better and are willing to share with us. So, Doctor, you're very welcome on UBC Radio.
Yes.
And on this program, our program. In the previous episode, Doctor was taking us through the space. Remember, we are in our equation of money being equivalent to space plus time plus skill. And we have now, at this stage, we now know what space is. In the previous episode, we looked at space being the spiritual space. Doctor talked about it. Then the physical space, this one which you're looking at, the land in front of your house, the one behind your house, that is the physical space. And we say that you can go all the way to even have virtual space. You can have your farm going upwards, because we also recognize that much as the population is growing and we need more food, we need more activities to go on, the land is still the same land. So how are we utilizing it? We are only focusing on the physical, but there is virtual space. And if you listen to that program, at least you know that there is virtual space and you know how it can be utilized. So today we want to look at the skill, because we've previously talked about time, and we said that with time we have to apply technology so that we compress this time and have more productivity without lagging and waiting for how things used to be done then. Today, we are looking at skill. I think after today's program, you will be able to know how to make money.
Yeah.
Because you'll be equipped with the what we understand by space, time, and now skill. So, Doctor, please say hello to us.
Yes, listeners, good evening. This is Dr. Mkibi from College of Vet, Makerere University. I'm back on air to complete our equation that we introduced to you some years back, around 2020 to 21 there. And then we've derived it again this year for those who are not able to listen in. And we hope now listeners are all at the same wavelength. So now we can move together and dive into money economy. So before you talk about money, you must have a tool to use to get that money. This morning I found a lady standing somewhere in Makerere, peeping into the newspapers. I also stood there, peeped, and then I bumped into a conversation. She was looking for a man to give her money. She showed some photos into New Vision. There were some photos of somebody displaying a 50,000 note, a band of 50,000, and she's like, oh, I wish I can cut out this one and I take it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you think that's money? She's like, yes, if somebody can give me these bundles, I'll be done. So I'm like, but you have the money. She's like, where is it? I pointed at her hands. I told her, once you have these two things on your body, you have the money. She's like, but where is it? I'm like, okay, I can offer to give you that money you're looking for by telling you where it is. She's like, please, can you please guide her? I told her, those two things swinging on your body. I pointed
those
at
are money-making machines.
Exactly. So they are there with you. And
that's the technology.
Yes, and you're just folding them. So why don't you use them? And she's like, but I've done things, I've gone to gardens, but there's no money. So I told her something missing is now the skill. So tonight we are going to be talking about the skill. Kindly bear with me. I'm going to take you slightly a bit higher now in P6. We may skip P5 because in P5 we need to address the issue of connect, disconnect. That one we shall give it some time, just a few minutes to talk about it, but we are not going to delay there. It will be disconnect, then connect. Remember when we ended last time's episode, we are talking about connecting and disconnecting from your cultures, from your sluggishness, to dive into the collapsing of time, quick procedures, driving into saving time wastage, and then you are using only the productive time, the time you can use to produce something. So tonight we are going to be talking about the skill, and we understand what this is all about. We have protected this skill, acquiring of these skills, and we've baptized that protection education. You've heard people talk of the education system. That is where we've protected those skills, where people give skills to those who do not have. But we want now in our primary 6 to derive certain things related to skill. But before we dive into that, we want to talk about the 2+ signs in our equation. Remember, we said those 2+ are referring to you, the human being. So there are 2+ because we have M equals to S plus T plus S. So those 2 pluses we are looking at, the plus signs, are referring to you, the listener, to me, to Maureen, to anybody who is listening in our formula. You are the one standing in there. It is not uncommon for these 3 letters to float. In so many continents, these letters are floating. They are floating around because there is no plus. Now, without you, the listener, these letters cannot be combined appropriately to yield you the M we are talking about. The moment Maureen is absent, then the equation cannot hold water.
We are the plus sign.
Exactly. So our listeners have to know that for this equation to bring you the M we are talking about,
the money,
the person, the human factor has to be in place. Now, as we are talking about skills, technology, space, they are always there. Africa has all actual abundant space. But how come we are complaining? How come people are looking for the paper money? How come? It's because these letters are hanging. They are not combined in the appropriate way. Now, when the human being is in the picture, they do what we call the permutations and combinations. People who did some mathematics have undergone this training, permutations and combinations. How do you arrange? People who have been playing the cards, they reshuffle cards and then they give you your cards. Then you start playing that game. But the way the cards are combined, are reshuffled, will determine who wins. Because it's by chance. Somebody just reshuffles, then you pick cards at random such that you remove bias. Now, if somebody gets dangerous cards, will win the game. And the way you play the cards matters a lot. Because I can give you a die, there's a J, then I can retain my J and 8 die. Then I have a J spade and 8 spade plus a master, which is spade. My neighbor has 2, 2, 2, 2 And whenever he puts the 2, I have to go down and pick 2 cards. Not so. So the guy may refuse to give those 2s, and he waits until he remains with only 2s to win the game. Now, if he calculates wrongly, he may be won, because I can put a J followed by an 8 to skip him. I put a J followed by an 8, and then I win the game. So he has the 2, he dies with these 2s. So the issue is combinations and permutations. You have space, you have the time, you have the skill. You have a PhD from a university, you have a master's, you have a degree, you have a diploma, you have certificates, but they don't yield any money. Then you wonder why. I went to school, but there is no money. 1, you have either given away your time to other things. 2, you don't know where the space is. 3, you've not done the permutations and combinations very well. Now, today, as we talk about skilling or skills, I have said that we've gazetted these skills and protected them under the name education. So people, to acquire these skills, they have to pay. Maureen has to pay money to be able to present very well, to learn how to present on radio. She had to go to school. Otherwise, if somebody was willing to offer this skill free of charge, or without rules, without a gazetted area, Maureen would not have gone there. So many people are trampling over skills just because nobody is charging for them. People have skills at home. So I'm going to categorize for you the skills. We have the formal and the informal. So people formally have gazetted the places where you go and acquire these skills. They collect those people who are experts in those areas and put them in one place. You go and you get those skills to be able to perform. For example, I'm working in a university. I went to the US and studied a master's in international infectious disease management and biosecurity. I am the guy who dashes down when COVID comes. I'm supposed to be deployed. But unfortunately in Uganda it was the police in charge of COVID. I almost got arrested when I tried to talk to people not to move recklessly. They're like, who authorizes you to do that? I mean, I'm like, oh my God, we are in danger. So people have the skills, but you have to gazette places and put them where they can be, defined that these are the guys with these skills. Now, I remember there's a friend of mine who is a pilot, studied in UK, and was the teacher of those guys in UK. Now, he came back to his African country, and he failed to get a job. So he went back in his home and started growing bananas. Now, one time, there was a visitor who was coming from those big countries, and then people were told to bring a very good pilot to really head this team that was going to preside over this occasion. And these African men went to one of those big states in the UK to look for best pilots, but they were told there is one who is an African, and somewhere those guys knew where the guy was. So they directed these guys to go back and trace this African who is highly skilled to help them do the work. And it happened. The guy did it. So sometimes if you fail to gazette areas where you put those skilled people, you tend to lose those skills. You tend not to harness from them. Another example I can give you, we have skills that have not been harnessed. The informal. They are the formal. The formal are the ones you go to school to learn. Yeah. Now we have different levels. You have what you call farm schools. If we go to the farm, then you have diploma awarding institutions for different courses. Then you have university. But then something we talked about the other imaginary distance, if you recall, when somebody is just born, do they have any skill in their brains?
No.
I don't know. Somebody was asking me, how come a baby is able to locate the teeth of the breast?
I think they have some skill.
Probably they could be having something that
they know that the mouth is for feeding.
Yes, who tells them?
So there is a skill somewhere.
Somehow, somewhere, somebody could be born with something which is by instinct. A baby, when it's produced fresh, will look for the nipple. And what could that be? Is that a skill? I don't know. I'm willing to learn more. But according to my observation, I was saying that a baby has 0. If we go by the formal skills, 0, formal. Then you begin learning. And as you grow older, you get exposed, you learn so many skills. Now, some skills are not earning us money. For example, as a boy, I used to go and assist on building sites, construction sites, and they call it portering. I don't know what it means exactly, but I was assisting these guys, the mansions, and then when I went to the US, I was broke one of the days as a student. I wanted to assist. There was a certain structure there, and I thought it is easy. So these guys were like, hey, you've ever assisted on a building? I'm like, yes, in Uganda I did that. So like, okay, any document that shows that you... I said, oh my God. I get a document for being a porter. I say, yes, you need a document. If anybody has ever awarded you that document, let it be the engineer on the site that you have ever assisted. Let's look at it. For sure, this is something I took for granted, that you just go and assist anywhere. I never acquired any document from anybody. And these guys just wanted a document given to me either by that engineer I was assisting to prove that I've ever, I didn't have one. So they said, sorry, we cannot really offer you anything until you produce that. I'm like, okay, which means there are some skills which go unnoticed. Especially in Africa here, we despise them. You're like, being a porter, do I need a document? Just assisting? No. So those guys treat everything very useful, those developed worlds. They're like, okay, the way you assist matters. You need to know which position you stand in as you give a brick to somebody constructing. You need to know how to mix sand with cement. We have so many skills that are really not rewarded. In Uganda, for example, if you went to DIT, currently Directorate of Industrial Training is trying to resurrect this. They are following people in Uganda who have skills that are not documented. You go and meet them at their center. They have selected certain centers where you go, they assess you. So in Makerere, they have sent me a group of trainers. And currently, the Ugandan education has been revised, hope listeners are aware, to include the DIT component, where our children at senior 3 are supposed to acquire a certificate. And what they do, they are following somebody who has a skill acquired informally. Then they assess you, and eventually you are documented that this guy knows how to construct. And is level 1, level 2. So thank God Uganda has woken up to this reality. So many people have skills. Those people you see who say they never went to school, who look at themselves as omuntu wa wansi, you have heard them. They say the abatasoma, they have even associations in Uganda as if they are calling for sympathy. But we are saying no, even if you didn't go to school, this is just a formal, but there is that informal skill that people have acquired over time. You have a dad who knows how to make bricks. They know how to assemble this, we call it what? The furnace, where they burn these bricks and they change the...
And it is quite expensive.
Very expensive. They know how to assemble that. Somebody knows how to mingle that soil. They know which specific type of soil you use when you want to make bricks. That is a skill. But people have not been documenting that. Somebody just knows. And nobody awards for that. So thank God Ugandan government is now alert about that. And it's going to really impact on the economy in some years to come. We have a human resource that has been dying there. People thinking they are not skilled. People are not employable. People have been talking about employable skills. Now we went formal for decades, and people have just been acquiring theoretical skills, I can say, and then they fail to be employed. Very knowledgeable with a lot of English, but when you assess in terms of the applicable skills, 0. Yeah. So now what are we talking about here? We have gazetted places where you go and study about certain skills. Universities, colleges mention them. But we also have the informal skills which are acquired at home. You know how to cook. Yes, Maureen knows how to cook matoke very well. She can prepare and she can change that into a restaurant and then start earning money. For now, that's the introduction before we dive deeper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that, we are going to go for a very short break and we'll be right back. This is On the Farm program and it's on every Saturday evening from 7 p.m. on UBC. We are with Dr. Herbert Muchibi and my name is Maureen Katukunda. Don't touch the dial. We're still on this program. We've briefed you on what we mean by a skill, what a skill is, and in our next segment, we are going to be looking at how this skill can be used by a farmer. Thank you. Don't touch the dial.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize with the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Oh yes, On the Farm, the meeting point for all the farmers.
I welcome you back from that break. Yes, we are looking at the aspect of skill. In our equation of money is equivalent to space, time and skill. And we are looking at skill. Doctor has broken down what a skill is. And now in these remaining minutes, we are going to take you through how a farmer can use the skills they have to match up with the equation and get money eventually. How to utilize the skills, how to use them wisely. Because we've known that you can know something, but you don't know how and when to use it. So doctor, please take us through how a farmer who is listening to us right now can benefit from this aspect of the skill.
Yes, thank you very much, Maureen. Dear listeners, we have what we call the artisanal skills in terms of levels, and then you can get a certificate through those formalized systems to certify that you have those artisan skills. Now, a human being learns from two ways. You can learn from the hand to the brain, or from the brain to the hands. Now, what do I mean here? When you do practicals, you're learning from the hand to the brain. When you do theory, you're learning from the brain to the hands. You can listen in to UBC tonight, and I train you how to make silage, for example. That is a skill. Now you'll be listening in and you learn. Your brain is clicking, you're following the stages. Then you start doing what you heard me say.
Yes.
That is now learning through the brain. Then you apply by doing. I have been training farmers on radios. They listen in, they do, then they call me, say, so this thing is rotting. I'm like, now.
The silage
is rotting. Then I'm like, I need to be now present as you're working to see where you're making the errors.
If you're having the right skill.
You get, yeah? Now, others learn by doing. They come on my farm, stay for 1 week. We do it with them. Without even talking to them, we are just doing. Then we feed the cattle. Now, those people will never call to say, so my silage is rotting. They have learned from the hands to the brain. They remember every stage we went through. But the other ones who listened in sometimes, pushing that to the hands becomes a problem. So that's why we combine two. You learn theoretically, then we take you for the practical part, such that you really don't forget. Now, there are things Maureen did when was still a baby, at crawling age. She still remembers. I remember wedding my friend. We had this wedding of kids where you parade a girl and a boy, you make a wedding, dress them very well. So there is a girl we wedded with when we were still young. A baby is like 2-3 years. Up to today, I still remember that girl. I thought it would be my wife. Unfortunately, the world separated us. And none of us have met, the other one ever since. So now, but me, the brain, it is there. Now, what you do with your hands, the brain will not really forget. Now, that brain of yours has different segments where it keeps information. Now, when Maureen forgets something, she normally hits the forehead here. She wants the brain to bring back what she learned. Yes. Why is she hitting the forehead? The body is telling her that part of the brain is the one that stores information, and quickly it has to bring it back where she needs it. Now, there is the other side, the behind one, can store what you remember later after years. It is really safe, just deeper there in the brain, so you don't forget. Now, what you do with your hands goes into the other banking system that is really far-fetched, and you cannot forget. Now, normally, I would like, as we are presenting here on UBC, our farmers who are listening in, you try to do what we are talking about. That is the practical we want to now talk about. You try to do what we are talking about, and then eventually you'll see yourself understanding better and recalling, not forgetting, even if a long period has passed. So with the skills, we, the people who are skilling others, we also first get skilled. We learn how to pass over those skills. Now, as a teacher, you're trained to pass over. There are some good teachers, very good, but they cannot teach others. You've seen them. Somebody has skills but cannot pass them over to other people. He's not skilled. So many people are skilled, but they are not teachers. They cannot teach others a skill. Now, what we do, you train somebody to skill others. How do you communicate a skill and then people get it? Now, in this program on the farm tonight, we want to pass over some skills to you, and then you combine them with the other two that we talked about, and then money is going to trickle down.
Yes.
For example, let us now skill you on making a juice from bananas. You know this informal skill. We used to make a juice from bananas. At a certain wedding, we made juice from pineapples, and that juice was allowed to ferment. So when we gave our visitors, they became drunk. Then we said, okay, it was really was fermented too much. So next time, we don't ferment it too much, so it becomes sweet. Now we have omubisi in Buganda, which is juice from bananas. And we've seen people making it using the Simbopogana fronandus, what we call a chisubi. It's that tough grass. They now mix with bananas, mingle, put water, drinking water, and then they prepare that juice. You can make yogurt, you can make cheese, you can make so many skills.
Because now the skill comes with the value addition.
Exactly. So you can add value. Now,
so when you add value, eventually now you make money.
Exactly. So now what you if you sold the banana bunch, you can't make the money somebody makes when he's selling a mubisi, the juice from bananas.
Because you can find that you make more money when you add value.
Exactly. So that's what we are talking about. So next time we meet here, we are now going to give you like 14 skills.
Yes.
We are going to rush through the 14 skills, and then as we talk, please prepare the ingredients you're going to use. You do.
Okay.
We shall begin with those bananas. Then after you've done, then we shall refer you to DIT. Yeah. You go and get a certificate of how to make what? Banana juice. You pack it. You sell it as packed mubisi. And you make your money. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And with that, we come to the end of today's edition of On the Farm program. We want to let you know that if you keep following a series of our programs, you can't go wrong, because now we have just explained to you what a skill is, because it is the last thing in our equation of money. When you have space, what do you do with the space? You start carrying out activities. You observe time. You respect seasons. You see how to work even in the dry season. That is how you bring in technology, and with technology you're in production. But then after production, what do? You all have bananas, you all have matoke, you all have pineapples. Then what next? You think of what else you can do with it. Because previously, when we were talking about farm gate prices, value addition can increase your price. You can all be farmers, but when one of you takes an extra mile to do something different, then they will be at a better advantage than others. So we want to alert you that in our equation, much as you have space, you have the time, you've grown everything, you've done everything you can do. You need a special skill to add value to whatever you're doing. And today we've been explaining to you what a skill is and how important it is. But in our next episode of On the Farm, we are going to give you like 14 skills in different areas of agriculture, and you know what can work for you, because at the end of the day we want all of us to benefit and to grow the incomes of our households. That's it for today. Doctor, thank you so much for sparing your time to always come here to educate us, to feed us with knowledge and information. But there is someone who could have just tuned in. Please reintroduce yourself, and then we can.
Yes, I'm Dr. Herbert Muchibi from College of Vet, Makerere University. I'm happy to be the one sharing with you these wonderful skills.
Don't forget to send me your feedback, your messages on 075-4848-775. 075-4848-775. Tell us where you're listening in from, and maybe you can tell me which skill you would like us to make research on and share with you about. That's it for tonight. Thanks to the team we work with internally, Mr. Herbert Chigundu, Mr. Frank Gamasajage, Madam Smita Allen, our manager, and to you, our listener. You're great, you're wonderful, you're appreciated. This is UBC.